everyone, welcome to All Things Iceland, where you can get the inside scoop on Icelandic language, culture, history, and nature. My name is Jules, and today I am giving my reaction to Inspired by Iceland's latest campaign, which is basically inviting people to send their screams to Iceland. And the reason why I am doing this reaction video is because there has been such strong reactions by others, including those who live in the country and abroad, to this campaign. And I'm going to explain, of course, everything that happens, and actually I'm going to show the campaign itself and me reacting to it as I'm watching it. But I just also want to say that I'm coming from this from two different angles. So one, just personally as an individual who happens to talk about Iceland a lot, and I find it fascinating that there's so much polarizing feelings about this campaign. And then also as a person who is a marketing professional, I have been working in Iceland for the last 4 years, specifically doing digital marketing strategy to help companies in Iceland to get to and connect with potential people that would be coming into the country to use their services. So for me, this is always super fascinating to find out new campaigns that are coming out to market the country, and also to see what people's reactions are to them, because it's never easy, and I'm never gonna say that like this is absolutely right or absolutely wrong, unless of course it's like breaking the law or something. But you know, in times like this, definitely people are using different tactics in order to get in front of people. And just as someone who's been working in the industry, I find that fascinating. And I think it's just helpful to share that bit about myself, because I don't think most people know that that's what my everyday job is. So I just have a different perspective about a lot of the advertisements and things regarding Iceland, because it's something that I am fortunate to be able to take part in. Not specifically this campaign, I've not had anything to do with it, but in other aspects I've had the opportunity to work with companies in order to showcase the country. So let's just get into it, shall we? So showing people going through different ordinary situations, cutting your own hair, terrible things on television, not having the last piece for your puzzle, your kids pestering you, and finally just like letting it all out. And I'm just gonna pause it for a second, because this is the part of the campaign that I really enjoyed. So the fact that it's hard to give the idea, or at least the feeling, the emotional frustration that all of us are having without actually saying in the campaign that you're talking about the pandemic, because we all know that's what's happening. But to kind of make that the center of it would in essence take away, if you were to say it specifically, you know, whatever virus, that would of course I feel like overtake. But instead I think they did a really great job here of not saying that, but just getting across the feeling. So many people wanting to scream, just being so annoyed. You have to cut your own hair, you have to be at home with your kids all day, only terrible things all over the television. And I immediately was exhilarated when I saw that like they screamed, and then they used that to transport these people into Iceland. So let's just keep going. Yeah. So yeah, it's just hilarious. And what's also really cool here is that they're using famous places in the country. So if you have been on Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, all these different places, looking at images of Iceland, there's a good chance you've seen a glacier. There's a good chance you've seen Reynisfjara, Black Sand Beach, or that part where they were standing, which is in Dyrhóli. Or you have seen Skogafoss waterfall, which is really famous on the south coast. There's just a lot of images here that will resonate with people. And if you haven't been, you'll be like, oh man, yeah, I've always wanted to go to that place. Or if you have been, you'll be like, yeah, it would be amazing. I remember going there and feeling so good. And this would be the greatest place to kind of like release my frustrations. So yeah, now let's keep going. So they're screaming, the kid's even screaming. You've been through a lot, true. Looking for the perfect place to let it all out. And it says it looks like you need Iceland. Now, would I agree? It would be great to get out in Icelandic nature because you've been frustrated, and it's just really crappy that people have to be at home all the time. Many people have been in lockdown situations. In Iceland, we have not necessarily had it that way, so it's a very different feeling here. But even still, like, I can relate and understand that that's really been difficult. So yes, getting out into nature, absolutely, that is a great place to let it out. However, what they are referring to is basically the way for you to let it out is to send your scream, your blood-curdling, frustration, in the form of a scream through your phone and, to this app, whatever. And then your scream will go to a speaker that's set out in nature. And it looks like, as they're doing it, as we're running this ad, it's to these famous places like Skogafoss, where that scream will be released. So yeah, not surprisingly, this has caused some controversy here in the country and around the world. I mean, there are people who are fans of Iceland, who always wanted to go to Iceland, who have very mixed feelings. There are some people who absolutely love this idea, and there are a decent amount of people also who do not like it at all. And I'm just gonna play the rest of the video where it basically shows that after you've let it out, your scream out in nature, you are feeling relieved and, happy to basically have let out that energy. The reason why I'm doing this, like I mentioned, I have very many thoughts about this. Do I think that this type of screaming out in nature could be helpful? Sure, I'm sure there have actually been maybe some type of study on this or whatever. Do I think that I would want to go to Skogafoss in the South Coast and potentially during the time where they're doing this campaign and hear someone's random screams? No, I do not. I do not at all. I don't find that part appealing. I do think what they've been successful in doing, though, with this campaign is getting attention. So many people believe, all press is good press, good or bad. It's getting attention to the country. People are talking about it. And if you look at it that way, then they're doing a decent job, because you definitely have people in Iceland who are writing about it, who are sharing the article, the video. They are then, opinionated people who are writing it in English, and people who are seeing the campaign who are from outside the country who are also sharing their opinions about it. Some people really love it. On my Instagram account, I asked people what they felt about it, and it was pretty funny to see their responses. A lot of people were not very into this particular campaign. And again, I mean, that's based off of people's opinions. Now, when it comes to this issue of noise pollution, that is something that I do think, especially if you're out there and you're just trying to enjoy the nature, and a place like that could be, really one of these famous areas, if it's right now, there aren't a ton of people there. So you're getting, for once, the opportunity to be in these places where it's not crowded, but you might hear the screams of people, right? So it's like, I finally get it when it's not super crowded or potentially very crowded, because it's so popular, and then I'm just hearing somebody from the Netherlands or the United States screaming in the background. It's a kind of an off-putting thought. I haven't been yet to check out this place with the speakers, and I'm not so sure if I would want to even subject myself to that, to be honest. And then there's also there's wildlife that's in the area, and does this cause any potential disturbance to them? Now, I've been to places in the West Fjords, in particular Lautrabjarg, which is a place where you can go see a lot of nesting birds, specifically puffins when they're nesting there. And what's fascinating is that there's a sign that asks you not to go there after 8 p.m. and not to arrive, I think, before 8 a.m., something like that. And it's essentially to let the birds relax, let them be, even though they're making noises all night long, but that's their environment. Let them be, so that they're not constantly on guard for, because people are coming and checking them out all throughout the night and morning. So there's something to be said about that, in essence, but it isn't meant to be this long-term thing. It's actually very short-term. So I don't know if that's really going to be a big issue. It's just more about people's initial reactions to this. Like I said, my initial reaction at first watching it, because it's only a minute long, is that I was super excited about it. And then I was just like, oh, that's what's happening right now? Right? And I think every time that something comes out, it's always like, ooh, kind of interesting. But I wasn't expecting this. And it is unprecedented time. So of course people are doing things to really cut through, what other campaigns are going on in other countries in order for their campaign to be seen. So I guess in that regard, like I mentioned before, that's kind of working. I'm just always more concerned about, does this at all take away from the fact that like Iceland as a country brands itself as being quiet, untouched nature, natural sounds and landscapes, and then you're getting this like, come and share your screams with us, like get it all out here, kind of, getting rid of that image of like quiet in essence. Maybe, maybe not. Again, this is kind of like speculation on my part, and I'd love to hear what you think in the comment section, mainly because this is, like I said, in this particular case, is there like an absolute right or wrong answer? Some would argue yes. I would say, because it's not meant to be very long, there isn't. It's just more about people's feelings. And that does count for a lot. I mean, your gut instinct for sure about something does mean a lot about how you start to associate with country or place and whatever else. So I would love to hear what your thoughts are there, whether you're living in Iceland or abroad. It doesn't matter if you are or not in marketing. I would just love to know what you feel about this campaign. Like when you hear that being the opportunity. And if you, decided that you wanted to take part in it, did you send your scream to Iceland? What did you think of that experience? So definitely let me know in the comment sections. Just please be respectful to anybody who's sharing their opinion that doesn't align with yours. This is just a fun thought exercise and observations about, how we see this particular campaign and how it's playing out. This, I don't think, will be the only thing that will be talked about for Inspired by Iceland this year, just because there is, I'm sure, more of, whatever campaigns to come out as the year goes on. But this has been quite the start. Also, if you like these reaction videos, let me know, because I like doing them. They're pretty fun, and there are other things that I can react to that have to do with Iceland. I think it would be interesting to have a reaction to, then have a conversation with all of you in the comments. So for sure, let me know that as well. If you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.